In the next few minutes, I'm going to be breaking down the key differences between React Native and Flutter so that you can confidently choose the right framework for your mobile app. I've built apps using both technologies in the past for startups and businesses, so I know exactly where each one excels and where each one falls short. So by the end of this video, you know exactly which one suits your project best, and I'll even share a common mistake founders make when picking between the two. Let's get straight into it. So what is Flutter and React Native, and what is special about these two frameworks? Well, the great thing about these two frameworks is that it allows developers to develop apps within one code base. So within that one code base, it allows us to deploy on both Android and iOS within that one code base. And that is the advantage of developing apps with both React Native and Flutter. Now, I'm not going to give you guys a big history lesson of where React Native and Flutter came from. Pretty much the cliff notes that you need to understand is that React Native came from Facebook and Flutter came from Google. And lately in the last few years, there's been a debate of saying which is better, React Native or Flutter. It's kind of like the same debate between which is either the best investment, real estate or shares. It's the same debate, but they both have the pros and cons of each one. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today in today's video, of the differences between React Native and Flutter. So let's talk about performance between React Native and Flutter. So with Flutter, Flutter is known for its fast performance because it doesn't rely on extra layers to communicate with the device. It goes straight into the native code, which makes it ideal for apps with animations or complex visuals. With React Native, it's also fast, but it uses JavaScript to connect to device components, which can sometimes create small delays. So with React Native, it's generally good for standalone apps without a lot of complex visuals. But I would say in regards to performance, the clear winner here would be Flutter. Now before we start talking about the next topic, which is about the development speed, if you need my help in choosing the right framework and building out a high-performing app, you can click on the link below to book in a free call with me, and let's see whether we're the right fit and map out an action plan for your app success. When it comes to development speed and ease, React Native actually has the advantage here because it uses the JavaScript programming language for its framework, which makes it a lot easier for programmers who have a web development background to easily develop apps with React Native with the JavaScript programming language. Whereas with Flutter, it takes a bit more time to learn because it uses a language called the Dart programming language, which takes a while to get a grip of, which is currently inspired by the C and C++ programming language. So React Native kind of has that advantage in regards to development speed and ease. But when it comes to delivering unique designs and high-performing apps, I found Flutter's toolkit to make easily build custom and engaging user interfaces. So in regards to the user experience, just how I was talking about before with Flutter, Flutter actually has the big advantage here because it comes with a library of customizable widgets. So the advantage of this is that it allows developers to design consistent, high-quality interfaces that look the same in both iOS and Android. So it's perfect if you want a brand-specific look for your app. With React Native, however, it relies on the platform's native components, meaning your app is going to slightly look different on iOS versus Android. This can be an advantage if you want your app to feel native on each platform, but it's going to take a bit more time and effort to ensure consistency on both platforms. So when it comes to support and documentation, React Native is actually at an advantage here because React Native has actually been around longer. So in regards to the React Native framework, there's a large community of developers, libraries and tools available for the developers to utilize and take advantage of if they run into any issues, which can save time and prevent delays. Since Flutter is newer, their community is growing quickly, and Google support means there are more frequent updates available for the Flutter framework. Now, if you're thinking long-term and flexibility, in the long term, Flutter might be actually better suited for businesses that want to expand beyond mobile, as Google is working on making Flutter compatible across web, mobile, and desktop. So if you want flexibility for future platforms, Flutter might be the best way to go. Whereas in regards to React Native, it's highly focused on mobile, which is fine if that's all you're after. But if you're thinking about expanding to web or desktop in the future, Flutter could offer more flexibility, which has that advantage over React Native here. So let's pull this all together and finally put this to rest. Flutter and React Native both had their advantages and disadvantages, as we've talked about in today's video. But if you're looking to develop a mobile app on both iOS and Android with a single code base, and you're not looking to expand beyond mobile apps, I think React Native is a great choice. because it allows you to build native mobile apps with web technologies such as React and JavaScript. But if your app requires high performance, advanced hardware integration, and a unique UI that stands out of the crowd, I think Flutter has the advantages here and is the better long-term investment. But the biggest mistake that I see that startup founders and business owners make is choosing purely based on speed test and UI flexibility without considering team skill set, the ecosystem, and the long-term support required, which can lead to higher costs and headaches down the road. There are some people out there that are so hell-bent on using a different framework because it's the framework that they've used the most and they've had the most experience with. So say for example someone's used React Native the entire time, they'll be so hell-bent on using Flutter for a particular project. But that's actually a mistake because you actually need to keep an open mind of which would be the best platform to develop a particular app in, either using React Native or Flutter. Don't be one of those guys that we can only use React Native because, I've had the most experience with it and it's something that I'm the most knowledgeable in. And, I don't want to use Flutter because I refuse to and because I only use React Native. It's not the right mindset and approach you should take when deciding on a project. So if you apply everything you've learned in this video today, you'll make the choice between React Native and Flutter, saving you time, money, and frustration. Now right now you guys have two choices. You can take this knowledge and figure out everything on your own, or you can fast track your app development by working with me, an expert in mobile app development. So if you want a high performing scalable app built the right way, click on the link in the description below and let's bring your idea to life.